Welcome here on a Sunday, of course, here at Laurel Park in Racing. I am Callie Franco. Of course, Tim Tulloch next to me. A bunch of prices that we had yesterday, Tim.
Yes, we did. Welcome to today at the races. Yeah, a lot of prices yesterday. Interesting card. I don't think either one of us had top pick in any of those three stakes.
No, we didn't.
No,
No, we didn't
But,
make it. We
but
didn't
they were
make out
fun.
very
We're going
well.
to get to those
They were super fun. Yeah,
later.
we'll get to those in a second at the end of our show, but. I don't see anything being too different about today's card today, Tim. We're taking a look at the track right now. We've got a little bit of rain sprinkling down, so they sealed the track, but the track is labeled good. We've got a temperature, but we've got some rain coming down, a little bit of wind to add to that.
Yeah, and I think it's going to rain most of the day, so that track could go the other direction. Just have to watch it a little bit. It might get wetter and go sloppy. There's a chance to go sloppy, but we're going to start it good. It's nice and sealed. It's been sealed up since 10 o'clock this morning, so hopefully it's not getting too wet right now.
This race starts the early pick 5, but let's take a look at this maiden claiming 45, a 5.5 event here on the turf, and we both land. I was looking at some of our picks that we have throughout the rest of the day. We settle on the same horse in this first race. Duck pins for Robbie Bales. J. Ron Barbosa gets the call. A really nice effort back at Timonium last time out, coming off of a little bit of a layoff.
Yeah, a couple scratches in here. The 3 Gabriel's Wing, probably not significant. I thought the scratch of the first-time starter for Jamie Ness, a Dangerous Mind, was a significant scratch. But I did have duck pins on top initially as my price play of the day, returning from a break. Debuted at Timonium in September. It was a nice effort. It was a good, even, close some ground in the stretch effort. Got into a little bit of trouble that day. He comes back to the races with a different kind of a work pattern. Worked September 1st and didn't work again until September 30th. And didn't work again until November 5th. Had 2 works, one going 5/8 and one going 3/4 of a mile. So
Sure.
I think Robbie Bales is trying to get the most he can out of the works he's put into this horse. But I like this one this afternoon, and hopefully we get a little bit of a price.
Hopefully we get I agree. I don't know, especially like you said, there were some significant scratches in that race. One other one to obviously go for that we have underneath. We both go for Landon Jack, John Salzman Jr. Charlie Marquez gets the call. This is a speed horse that might die off at the end, so I just couldn't quite trust him on top 10.
Well, neither can I, and he's going to take a lot of money, but he does get back to 5.5 furlongs. He is hooking an easier group. There's no Prince of Jericho. There's no Feeling Woozy.
Right.
There's no Post Time, if you've ever heard of that one in this group. So he may have found the right group, and he is the horse to beat at the end of the day. But he has not shown the ability, as you mentioned, to carry his speed.
Yes.
But with this group, he very well might be able to carry his speed. Clearly, his speed figures stand over everyone who's run in this field.
And that's exactly what I went off of. You also include the number 4 and the number 5, Pride of Peyton for Tim Keith with John Novello, hoping for an improvement on that. And Indy Bound for Jose Corrales. Both horses just need improvement, but they're both coming off of the same type of setup, running it both in the Maryland Nursery last time out.
Yeah, I mean, the 5 Indy Bound for Jose Corrales gets beat 13 lengths in the Maryland Nursery. I mean, he's really never had a good time. First time out, he runs into Post Time and Prince of Jericho and Landon Jack. Second time out, he runs into Johnny Z's from Albany in the Maryland Million Nursery. And same thing with Pride of Peyton. But this will be second off of a layoff, getting back to this level in the 4 Pride of Peyton. Not bad in debut at this level. That was back in July. Got beat 5 lengths while running 4th.
Absolutely. And you go 6-2-4-5, and I go 6-2-8-1 there in the start of the early pick 5. But the early pick 4 starts next race, and Tim Tulloch lined a ticket up for us, and that's an $18 ticket, Tim.
Yeah,
there
$18 ticket. No singles here this afternoon, although you probably could single in race 3. But I kind of like the 4 also. Hopperness for Jamie Ness. But let's start here in race 2. 6, 7, 8 in race 2. Race 3, I use a 3 and the 4. The 3, Brittany Russell's collection day. That one's going to take a lot of money. Big drop there. But I threw in the 4, Hopperness for Jamie Ness. Blinkers go on. And this one's stretching out for Jamie. Very, very good. Race 4, 4, 7, and the 8. Race 5, I use the 1 and the 6 in that event. $18 ticket for the early pick 4.
And it just alludes to you could go with a single, but it's safe to not go with a single. I take a similar approach with my ticket. That just goes to show you we had prices yesterday, but we have some potential for some prices today, Tim.
Oh, sure.
This card is a great card for this Sunday racing here today. So with that being said, early pick 4 starts in race 2 in a claiming 10 event, going a 1-turn mile on the dirt scratch with Jade's Dream. I had that horse originally on top. Tim, you go with Pantomime. We've got a video spotlight on your top selection, Pantomime. Christine Claggett, Richard Monterey, last time out winner.
Yeah, this was a nice race. And what a nice ride Bryson Butterfly gave this one this particular day. Last going into turn, you see he's patient. He said, okay, I got a little spot here. I can get here. We're saving ground. We're saving ground. We're saving ground. He would have been 4 or 5 wide if he did the other thing, but now he saves the ground all the way to the stretch. Top of the stretch to the wire. It doesn't matter whether you're inside or the outside. It's still the same amount of ground. He gets this one out into clean air, and he simply just comes running. Has to battle with Dr. Rags a little bit down toward the inside. This one comes up the fence, but this was a good-looking effort. That race was going 3/4 of a mile. This one's by Ghost Zapper out of a mine shaft mare. I think he gets better. I think he stretches out, and he will get better stretching out this afternoon. Richard Monterey rides for Christine Claggett this afternoon.
And I agree. You also we're going to be gearing on a good to gearing towards sloppy today. Ghost Zapper, Wet Dirt's going to really help out Pantomime today, especially on that outside post. Won't have to do the whole inside trip, and I think in this group he doesn't quite need to, Tim.
Yeah, he's already been on track with moisture twice in his life. He doesn't win in a second, so that is certainly not going to hurt his chances.
You also have the number 7 underneath, who is my top selection, and Super Emperor for Mike Trombetta. Angel Cruz gets the call. Was taken up from 3rd to 2nd last time out. Had a little bit of issues last time out, but I think the 1-turn mile is we haven't seen him on just a 1-turn distance. So this is his first time going 1 turn today, Tim.
Yeah, this is he got into that trouble that was provided by Jade's Dream, who scratched out of this race at Penn National in that last race, studied at the 8th Bowl. But it was a good effort that particular day. Go back to Laurel of last fall, a good race while going a 2-turn mile on the 16th. Here at Laurel Park. Gets the 1-turn mile today. Should work for him. He's going to be pretty well placed early, I would think, down out underneath Angel Cruz. He's had a work since that last race, 3rd off a break today.
And we also go with braces underneath for Hugh McMahon, J-Ron Barbosa. I can't remember. I think J-Ron Barbosa might have braces, so this might fit, but might be taking your early command in this race. I think this potentially is your pace setter of the race today, Tim.
Well, anytime Barbosa, even if they don't read like they're going to go to the front, Barbosa's probably going to try to get them there. Anyway, he's making his Laurel Park debut, 2nd off the claim for Hugh. Has had a local work here, or if you can call it that, I don't even know what they are anymore. Those mile things.
It's a 2-minute lick, but it's a 2-minute lick. But Hugh McMahon is fine telling his riders to pick up the pace a little bit at the end of the 2-minute lick. I believe that's what I think those works are all about.
Yeah, they're insignificant to me when I look at them.
Right.
I just don't. So I can't see anywhere that it's doing him any good. So not go off that. Move on for that. The horse most recent race has been okay at this same type of level.
Could potentially fit in well to get a piece of it here in the opening of the early pick 4. Race number 3 starts the Rainbow Pick 6, and we have a carryover that just keeps giving. So 7,745, that's certainly going to tick up by the time the gates open for race number 3. Let's take a look at my ticket, and I had trouble finding a single. I didn't want a single on race number 8. So we see this a couple different ways. Race number 4, I know you go with the 1, but you also go with another different horse because you go double you go with 2 horses in race 4 for your ticket, I believe, from what I remember. Races 5, 6, and 7, wide open affairs. I think that could be taken any which way. Race number 8, of course, I talked about singling in on the 5, but you also want to definitely include Rock Rose for Jose Corrales. So to me, this whole card just had me scratching my head a little bit, and I think our selections are going to reflect that a little bit as we tick on into these later races. But let's get back into race number 3, another one-turn mile event, maiden claiming 20. Now this is an interesting race that I think is going to be setting up. You go with Hopperness for Jamie Ness, gets the blinkers on, and I think is really going to benefit from stretching out this time as a son of opportunity.
Absolutely. Blinkers on this afternoon. Stretches for Jamie Ness. He hits at about 30% on the stretch. Now he's stepping up off of that effort in the 12.5 in his most recent start. I originally thought he was going to get a fast track for the first time in his career, but this may even work out to his benefit. He's never run on a fast track. He got mud and slop in his first 2 races. They were both good efforts at Delaware and over the slop last time here at Laurel Park. But I like the stretch when you're adding blinkers, right, and when you win route races and you win at the percentage that Jamie wins from short to long. Hopperness is very, very interesting. The 3 collection day is going to take a lot of money. A big drop here this afternoon, and he's getting back to the main track. The figures are certainly there. In debut, ran on the main track at the Delaware Park. Got beat 9 lengths that day. Ran an okay number, but he's dropping from maiden special weights to this maiden 20, and that's a lot of drop.
It's a lot. Change the jack to Javian Toledo. Brittany's been kind of normally second-time route. She's stellar. I remember coming into the start of 2022, she's been stellar, but she's been a little cool lately with her second-time routers. 1 for 16 as of lately. So I'm going to I like the horse, but I'm going to take a bit of a wait-and-see approach, as you did as well. But I like your top selection of Hopperness on top. I go with the other, Hopportunity son with Hop and Scotch for Ned Allard, Angel Cruz. These 2 team up relatively well. Second time route, I feel like Ned Allard is going to offer a little bit. This is the first time this horse is running under Ned Allard today.
Yeah, it drops back down to a level that he's a little familiar with two starts ago at this same type of level. Ran 4th, only got beat 2 lengths that particular day. That was over a muddy racetrack. So clearly the off or potentially racetrack with moisture, and it should not hurt him. It's had to work since that last race and already has route experience.
Exactly.
I think that could go a long way.
Yep. So that's kind of what I went with. And of course, we both include the number 1, I Am the Mike for Carlos Mencia. But race number 4 is a starter optional 12.5, a mile and 16th on the dirt instead of a mile that we've been going so far. Tim, you and I both land, and we have a video spotlight on the number 4 Assembly Point. This also includes the number 7 Erewhon in this stretch right here.
Yeah, I mean, this was a big race for Assembly Point. This race is from October 9th. Same type of race as he's in today. This was a 4th win in a row for him in this race. You see Erewhon, he's going to come up in between horses. The 1 was a big scratch right there. The 3 in this race, Mucho Macho Eddie, was the 1 in that video. He's a scratch today. That was a big scratch. He was my top pick. But Assembly Point was in very, very good form. Went out to Charlestown, got beat soundly as a favorite, short-priced favorite out there, but gets back here to Laurel Park, where I mentioned he'd won 4 in a row here in Maryland between Laurel, Timonium, and Pimlico. Right. So, I mean, this should work for him, and certainly much better for him that the 3 Mucho Macho Eddie is out.
Right, I agree with you. The Charlestown race at Assembly Point, if you look back at how this horse is winning, he's sitting off of the pace a little bit, at least for the first portion of it. Charlestown, they just send him. He gets challenged. He wants no part of that, so to me, that was just a mental throw in the towel race. I think he gets back to the track that he is going to enjoy back here at Laurel Park. You have the 8 underneath. That is Friendly Fella. Claudio Gonzalez changed the jock from J.D. Acosta to Yomar Ortiz. Coming from the drop down, the drop down is the biggest attraction, surely enough, Tim.
Well, 2 things. 1, can handle an off track for sure. 2 for 3 if we get some more moisture in the track. Really might be the only speed in the race, and I would expect that Yomar Ortiz is going to go right to the front. Going to have to work out a little bit of a trip from the outside that first 16th of a mile, but when you look back at his races at Monmouth over the summer, August 1st, August 19th, got to the lead, and if he gets to an easy lead, he becomes very, very dangerous. He can take this field a long way. But he's got to get to the early lead, but he's coming off this little bit of rest that Claudio likes to give, over 30 days, couple works,
Needs it.
and the class relief for sure.
Absolutely. You and I both, of course, we talked about Erewhon underneath. That was such a gutsy run in between horses back on October 9th and then comes back on a sloppy surface. So that's what has me concerned a little bit for today.
Well, look, that was a big race for Erewhon. I mean, it was close to a lifetime best number in his last start. He ran 40, got beat 4 lengths. But he runs behind 2 next out winners, Thorny Tail, and we saw Cecilia Mike win yesterday or the day before. I can't remember. Cecilia Mike. So he's coming out of a race that with a track with moisture where he ran quite well. He'd run well in the video spotlight that we showed you. So Erewhon's in the conversation. There's no doubt about that. He's going to have to come back with a couple of those races, but he's not too far off.
And of course, we both include Yes Sir Robert, which, hey, this horse won on an off track last time out, going a mile. Stretch this out a little bit. The 2 turns, I think this is this horse's first time going 2 turns around today, Tim.
Well, if you like Erewhon a little bit, you have to kind of like Yes Sir Robert coming out of that same Thorny Tail Cecilia Mike race. Yep. So he's going to have to come back with that same type of race. Going 2 turns on the main track for the first time.
Absolutely, and we'll see what happens there in race number 4. Race number 5 is a claiming 25, never win 3, going 6 furlongs on the dirt. And we both land on the horse that's going to be coming out of the 2 post back at you for Jamie Ness, Jaime Rodriguez. A really nice effort actually the last 3 efforts have been fantastic. But what's encouraging is that this horse won on a muddy surface last time out.
Yeah, I mean, he's been very, very good over his last 3 races, just missing a lifetime best at his most recent start over a racetrack that was labeled good right here at Laurel Park. That's what we're at right now, a racetrack that's labeled good. So we know the moisture in the track won't hurt. He ran a big race at Delaware over the mud 2 starts ago with a winning effort there in that 20, basically same race he's in today.
Right.
This horse looks like he's going to be very, very tough under Jaime Rodriguez.
I agree, absolutely. We both have the 6 underneath. You have them in your Exacta and Union Fleet for Anthony Ferry, and we've got a video spotlight on Union Fleet for this nice 7-2.
Yeah, I mean, this horse this was last race. This was going 7/8 of a mile. This was 2 lifetime for 16,000, stepping up first time off the claim today for Ferrier to the 25,000. But it doesn't get much easier than this. He was never asked. He's wrapped up here at the wire. He canters in. That's as easy as it ever gets for any horse unless they're in a walkover.
Exactly.
But turns back to 3/4 today for Anthony Ferrier. Angel Cruz returns. He'll be feeling confident for sure off that last race. This horse will be tough this afternoon.
A lot of deadly action. I also include the number 9. I got interested in Bomboloni. This horse. This horse has been good over the turf, so I don't know if they're going to try this horse for a winter campaign, but to me he's intriguing enough coming. The drop down from the claiming 40, sure enough, but can this horse handle a muddy surface today? That's my question.
Well, we're going to find out, but you're going to see this happen a lot here. We had a couple horses today on today's card where guys are just going, okay, let's see if you can handle some dirt,
right.
And race a few times over the winter, get you back on the turf in the spring. But this horse did debut on a fast Laurel Park racetrack back in July. Got the job done with a little bit of trouble. Dale claimed that horse that day. Has been on the turf, tried routing on the dirt with mixed results. Did get a win in that 2 lifetime on the turf for 40,000. But in my way of thinking, he's a better horse now. So if he won on the main track sprinting as a first-time starter with a different conditioner, and now he's been in Dale's barn for a while, comes in here with a sharp work going 3/8 of a mile. If he's a better horse, and I think he probably will, I think Bomboloni could be a real player under Carlos Lopez.
Well, on top of that, he's had trouble. He had big trouble in that first time out at the 12.5 level, and then we come back, has a little bit of trouble coming out of the gates in that last effort on a fast track. So I'm just giving the horse a shot. I think the horse has talent. There's a bit of raw talent there, so I'm just, like I said, giving this horse a shot. I understand why you have the Anthony Ferrier horse right underneath, but then I also include my last mission from Anthony Pecoraro because the barn is just going so well, especially on a muddy surface last time out. But you include the number 3 aesthetically. Damon DeLavico winning a stakes race yesterday with Horacio Caramano's Red Hot Barn. Why not?
Yeah, no, you got to get on these horses that are getting on the main track for the first time. Yes, elusive quality out of a deputy minister mare. Maybe a little turf lean, maybe, but there's nothing that says this one won't run on a main track for sure. He's got some decent works over the main track here at the Laurel Park, so I'll give that one a shot.
Absolutely, and those are our picks for race 5. Tim Tell goes 1-6-3-9. I go 1-9-2-6, and we'll be right back to talk about the rest of the card that we have here on Sunday. And welcome back here for this 6th race that we've got going on. This maiden claiming 12-5, going 7 furlongs on the dirt for the 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. No scratches, but we do have a little bit of a change. Just a quick correction. Frog Prince was at 9-5, and just a correction, he is now at 9-2 for Suzanne Stettinius. But Tim, let's talk about the horse that we both have on top, because we both have the Frog Prince. We'll get to him in a second. But the number 8, Love Machine for Dale Capuano. Carlos Lopez gets the blinkers on today.
Yeah, gets the blinkers, as you just mentioned, dropping in class, turning back in distance, which Dale Capuano does very well, about 19%. Has a good race on an off track at Charlestown the first part of October, where he got beat a neck while running second. Came back at a rout of ground out there at Charlestown and ran yet another good number. Those are both main track races. He's had a couple decent races on the turf, but I think this works for Love Machine, getting the drop in class and back on the main track.
Absolutely. And then let's talk about the number 9 Frog Prince, as we mentioned, from 9-5 now to 9-2 for Suzanne Stettinius, J. Ron Barbosa. This horse only ran once on a fast track. Didn't hit the board at all. But now in Suzanne Stettinius' barn, how do you see this horse playing this? Obviously favorably.
Well, look, the horse has run 3 good races while sprinting on the turf. That's July, August, September. Those were all decent efforts. 4th in all 3, only beaten 3-4 lengths in all three of those races. By imagining out of a point given mare, well, again, it doesn't bleed turf.
Right.
This horse might appreciate getting onto a main track now that he's had some experience coming out of a race going around a ground. Here at Laurel, again, not a bad effort. Only beaten 5 lengths that day. So, yeah, the turn back in distance a little bit onto the main track, it could be just fine for Frog Prince.
Oh, why not? Absolutely. You and I both include the number 1 on the rail. Maybe it's time for Mikey Gorham, Jaime Rodriguez. They had a decent winner yesterday with a horse that kind of sets up the same way. The horse yesterday needed to go to the lead, was always dying off a little bit. Jaime Rodriguez took command yesterday and took them from gate to wire. I could see this potentially getting a replay of yesterday just with maybe it's time.
Well, 2 starts ago, this horse ran pretty okay over a track that was rated wet fast at Delaware Park. Good today. A couple good turf efforts before that. But Mikey Gorham's come back here to Maryland. He usually has a decent winter here, and this is another one breaking from the fence that I can see going right to the lead.
Absolutely. Race number 7 starts that starter optional claiming at 30, going 5.5 on the dirt. Scratch the 1A, He Hate Me, and scratch the number 2, Macy's Boy. We still both land on Sevier for Jamie Ness, Jaime Rodriguez again. I mean, how could just the obvious go? The horse is 8-5 for a reason.
Yeah, the horse. I thought the other horse looked better in the race, so that could have been on the strength. And I had the 1A, He Hate Me, on top. But with that one out, the 1 Sevier looks like he could be the horse to beat. It's only run once here at Laurel Park, but it was a decent race. He ran second. He ran a good figure. But this is a horse that's been in good form going all the way back to April. Has not ran a bad race at all. Steps up a little bit, I think, here. Those were $8,000 starters he's been running in. at Delaware Park, but the figures work for sure, and he's honest. He always shows up.
And this is the time to step him up. I mean, he's such in good form. Why not? Why not go for it? This horse is going to be breaking out of the 4-post, not the one rail. So it should be that might help or hurt him being the lead. But I think I don't think it's going to make a difference. I think he's just going to be just fine popping out of that 4-post. The number 5 that we both have underneath, Cry No More, Kieran McGee, Carol Cedeno. This is coming first after a big layoff, Tim.
Yeah, I've seen this one since October 1st of 2021. Has been working very well up there at Pimlico, and he's a horse who just has never run a bad race in his whole career. He shows up every single time. Worst race on his form was his debut race where he got beat 6 lengths, but he ran 4th. The figures are good. He's run into some good horses. Jackson Traveler, always in a hurry. Band on Tour. Exculpatory,
yep.
Some horses that can absolutely run. Ziggyman was at the time in that last race was in very good form. Was going to have to do it off of this type of layoff, but this is a class animal who knows how to get the job done.
Another horse who has been somewhat of a class animal is Aristocratic, who we have a video spotlight. You have this one underneath, Tim. I have my reasons, but take a look at this on a wet fast.
Yeah, I mean this was a good looking race from October 22nd over the mud for Aristocrat. He got very game. He ends up getting beat a nose. There's nothing wrong with that. This was a very good effort. He's a 10-time winner. There we go.
Yeah.
Just get snapped. He's a 10-time winner who's been in very good form all year. 2 wins, 2 seconds, 2/3 from 6 starts. This will be his second start in the Ferris Allen barn. He doesn't mind a race that has some moisture in it.
Right.
But I like him a little bit today. If he can run back to any one of his last 4 races, by the numbers, they're all running for second.
Exactly. And so I kind of did a do or die with Aristocratic only because we mentioned that this is second after the claim for Ferris Allen. As of late, he's 2 for 25 with that. But the horse, I feel like, especially with the mud, I'm having a little bit of buyer's remorse of not having him on my ticket. And you also go with the number 3 underneath, Savoy from Myers Ray Jr., Grant Whitaker. They also won a stakes race yesterday in the Safely Kept. But this one could be okay, is fine on a track with moisture.
Yeah, look what he did in his last start over going 5.5 furlongs over a track that was rated good. He runs a good, solid speed figure, gets the job done easily by 4.5 lengths. And you go back to Midsummer, this is a horse that was in very good form, winning 3 in a row at Penn National and Charlestown. All those racers were going a route of ground, but I wouldn't sleep on Savoy. Very capable, especially if he can come back and run back to that last race from November 12th.
Sure, 6-1 on Mario Saray in this race. Absolutely, I include the Cal Lynch horse. I'm a Pharaoh. Not sure if we're gonna get some positive goes on. I mean, American Pharaoh. Okay, 18% on a wet track. Why not? And then I also include the number 4 Wild Behavior for Lacey Gaudette. Also one into Mischief that also does well on a wet track. So that's kind of the angle I'm taking there.
Yeah, the 6. I'm a Pharaoh. Forget about American Pharaoh. Dixie Union up underneath. Those
right,
those types of horses that love the off track, and American Pharaohs are just fine on them. He himself was pretty good over a very off track on Preakness Day when he won the Triple Crown. But yeah, a little bit interesting here in race 7.
It is interesting because we agree, but then we completely split off after our top 2 selections, which is why I had to go so wide on a couple of these tickets. I got it. To me, this whole card is still a little bit of a head scratcher. And with that, we're going to talk about our nightcap of the day. The Claiming 16, Never Win 2, going 6 furlongs on the dirt for the girls 3 years old and up. Let's take a look at your top selection. Rock Rose for Jose Corrales. John Briseno gets the ride on this one today.
This was 2 starts ago, and this was a really big race for Rock Rose at this $16,000 level. Over the slop. Walter Rodriguez had ridden it this day. Had a little bobble out of the gate, but still dug all the way down and almost re-rallies a little bit right here. Almost gets back up, but then the 9 Sensen will come out of that race and win it again. And Sensen has been in pretty good form on and off all season this year. So I thought that was a big race. Tried the two lifetime 25 on the turf. another big race. Only got beat 3/4 length. So
Right.
this is a horse that's in good form. Will probably get a track with a little bit of moisture in that she seems to not mind. So yeah, that's where I'm going.
And we don't find a lot of really big stats, but Jose Corrales, as of recently, 4 for 15 going from turf to dirt, add 2 seconds and 5 thirds. So that's quick math. 11 for 15 in the money from turf to dirt for Jose Corrales as of recently. The number 5 you have underneath, and I took a stab at, is Fishers for Claudio Gonzalez. Carlos Lopez gets the call from Walter Rodriguez today. The last time these three teamed up, broke the maiden at the 45 level, going right to the front.
Yeah, I mean, really at the end of the day, maybe the horse to beat. Getting some class relief here today, getting back to 5.5 or 6 furlongs here today, where she's been okay. You go back and you look at those races at Delaware Park in May and June, going 5.5 furlongs. Well, either one of those races can win here, and then another race at Pimlico in September against Tuffer, where she did win. So look, this works here this afternoon. For Fishers, there's no doubt about that one.
How about the number 1 on the rail, Queen Cadence? I have this horse, but I can't quite figure this horse out. But I mean, the Charlestown, some horses just aren't Charlestown runners, so we get Yomar Ortiz 7-2 on the rail.
All you have to know about this one is she's dropping to the lowest level of her career in this non-winners of 2 for 16,000. 2 starts ago, allowance at Charlestown, Landwehr's a 2 allowance, ran a good race, third, only beaten two lengths. Look at her form before she went on that break. Those were good races against much tougher. She gets much softer here this afternoon.
And you also include the number 2, Martha Rita, cutting back in distance, but we're going to wrap it. Keep going with
well,
it.
Look, who's hotter? I got to give a shout out to Annette
Yeah.
Eubanks. Who's hotter than Annette Eubanks
Sure.
at the fall meet? She's winning at 24%. Her horses are running. This one's turning back to a sprint. Her sprint races from this past August at Laurel and Timonium were okay, and she's coming off a pretty decent race. Does she have her work cut out for her? No doubt about it, but
Right.
I'm going to stay with Annette here for a little while.
Absolutely, go for it. Absolutely. And whenever she and Angel Cruz get together, it always teams up well. But that's going to be our wrap-up for our Sunday card here at Laurel Park. Let's talk a little bit about what happened yesterday. We had some prices, but not quite here in this, yes, Sway and To and Fro, $15.80 winner.
Yes, and look, this was pretty easy for Sway and To and Fro. Grant Whitaker was able to get this one straight to the front and really unpressured. Had a horse about just off her flank, about a half length off her, but they were not making her go very fast at all. Grant said, I turned for home and I had plenty of horse, and she just drew off, as you can see.
There we go. And then in the city of Laurel, we've got Little Vic. Similar situation. This one went right to the front, and you had a conversation with them, Tim.
Yeah, no, this one didn't go to the front. This one came on the outside from behind some horses. You see he's a little dirty.
Yep.
And we're talking to Juan Arias. He wanted this to happen. He'd asked Juan Carlos Oliveira, go ahead and take this horse back a little bit. Keep him up in your hand a little bit, and then let him finish a little bit. He was close, but he came with a good finish. And then Armando R. Wow, this turned into a really, really good horse race. You got Our Nation on Parade, a white stripe. You got Cordmaker, ever hear him, in the middle. And here comes Armando R. on the outside. At this point, it's anybody's race. I thought I'm getting home with Our Nation on Parade. Good gallon effort from a Cordmaker, just flattens out a little bit, but look at Armando R. on the outside with his ears pricked. There's the wire. Let me pose for the picture, and that's exactly what he did.
And that was it. And speaking of Cordmaker now is a millionaire, $1 million, 880-cent winner. I mean, this horse just won. He won the General George, the Jennings, the Robert T. Manifuso, the Richard Small Stakes last year, the Victory Gallop, the Harrison E. Johnson Memorial Stakes. What other wins do we have?
Enough to make $1 million.
Polynesian Stakes, second Harrison E. Johnson Memorial, Jennings again. I mean, this horse just keeps on delivering. It was good to see him back and return and I was worried about that first time after the long layoff, but shows up again yesterday. That was encouraging.
Yeah, I'm still not convinced. I still didn't like the way. I mean, he ran a good race and much better than the race before.
That's what I'm saying.
I still didn't like the way around the turn, Monterey having to open up his left rein because he was. You remember how wide he got the time race before, and kind of drifting out there a little bit. flattened out a little bit in the lane. Okay, that's to be expected to some extent. Second off a layoff mile and eighth this afternoon, but not going to take anything away from him.
No.
But I want him to get back in the winner's circle.
And we'll see that. Let's see what happens for Cordmaker in the future and possibly for 2023 as well. But we're going to head off. Thank you guys so much for listening here on our Sunday today at the races. And we're going to head off to Dave Rodman for some more changes and scratches.